Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today this is kind of a rough topic I'm going to be talking about, but um, most of y'all have saw my Instagram post. It was about my story and my testimony, and this is, I guess, kind of my testimony, but this is kind of my overall view on how I felt after, throughout this being sexually abused, because today marks 2 years since I was sexually abused, and, the very first time it happened, and October 30th today marks, the time. So, I'm just going to be reading this because I wrote it down, and I've been putting this off for a while, and so then I've made 2 videos, but then I'm like, no, I'm not going to keep them, and so then I wrote it, and I was going to make a post about it on Instagram, but then it was too long to post, so I just decided I'd go and make the video. So I'm just going to be reading what I copied and pasted, because it's going to be easier, because I cannot remember everything that I wrote down, so yeah. Wow, I'm sitting here wondering how to even type this. Today marks exactly 2 years since the starting of sexually abuse happened in my life. I swear every time the occurrence happen in my head, I swear it's a nightmare at any time I'm about to get up. It was October 30th, and just like any person, I was excited for Halloween. Who's not excited to eat as much candy as you want and spend it with friends and family? So, on October 30th, I couldn't sleep. He came in my room 3 times October 30th, and I said, I can't sleep. I'm too excited. Halloween is tomorrow. And when I did fall asleep, I woke up to a thought that what I was going to think would ruin my life. I woke up to the guy who was supposed to be my dad touching me in places no little girl would want to be touched. I was so scared, sad, confused, angry, and irritated that I had no idea what to do. I just cried and prayed and prayed and prayed, begging the Lord to never let this happen to me again, not realizing that what just happened was a gift for me to tell my story. I wanted to tell someone at the time, but I sadly did not, scared it would interfere with my mom, my brother, my sisters, grandma, grandpas, etc. I was just so scared to tell anyone because I felt as if everyone would get more hurt than I was getting, but it kept happening, and I felt like a dirty monster. I felt as if I was so nasty. I started shutting my friends out, being very disrespectful at home, cutting everyone short, and that just started to be the usual. It finally got to the point where church was my only safe place, my happiness, the place where I knew he'd never show up. I prayed every single night and went to church every Wednesday and Sunday, hoping for the Lord to get my message, when in reality I just wasn't listening to his message. It was finally one Wednesday night, and my mom wasn't feeling good, and I wasn't really taking care of my priorities, and my mom said that we couldn't go to church, because I needed to get my room back in order and all that jazz. Well, my mom went in the store, and I stayed in the car, and I legit just started bawling my eyes out. My mom came back to the car and said, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "Well, Mom, you know when he said if anyone touches me in a not so kind way, I should tell you. Well, Daddy did that to me." And that's when our lives became a very confused and isolated place. She lost her husband, her best friend, and I lost the dude I trusted most. We called the cops, and nothing was done from them for a whole year. In that year, I was still very sad and was in a very depressed time. I felt like I was alone and no one cared about me, including God. I felt as if I wasn't important to him. I also felt as if I had zero friends, when in reality, they were trying, but I wasn't having it. I just wanted to isolate myself, stay in bed, but then I felt dirty if I stayed in my bed, because that's where it first happened. I felt like if I went to my room, he would one day be waiting there for me, as crazy as that sounds. I had nightmares, and occasionally still do, about the traumatizing experience. I'll never forget this time I went to church camp, and a lady came up to me and said that God told me to tell you he loves you, and he's always there for me. I've been happier ever since and realized that this was a gift. I've helped a lot of girls out, and those girls have helped other girls out, and it just makes me feel so much happier knowing that I can help someone. I've still had plenty of angry moments, especially when the police didn't do anything, because I felt as if to most people it's not really important, which hurt me the most. But God taught me to keep my cool about everything. This will definitely be a challenging year, and I can guarantee that. But I do know that I have my friends and my family supporting me with all of my decisions, and I love you guys for that. This is something that was very hard for me to post, but it's something I feel should be done. If anyone ever needs to talk, I'm always here, guys. No doubt about it. So guys, that's basically the overall view of what I was going through at the time, and there's no really any words to express how much it hurt me. There's too many for that, but it was just very, very, very hurting because this person, no one would ever expect him to do that, and I'm not sticking up for him in any way because what he did was totally wrong. It was totally wrong, and it's just what all hit us most was just because that person in particular would do that to me because he was the kindest person you'd ever meet. And so that's what basically threw everyone off. And yes, I still do cry because of it. No, I'm not ever going to heal from this. This is something that will traumatize me, and I will still be scared. I'm still scared of him sometimes. But I do learn to forgive and forget. I mean, I know that I can't ever really forget this, but in the Bible it says that we need to forgive. So I have forgiven him, which might be hard for some of you if you are going through the same thing I can, and I know it will be very hard to forgive. And just because you forgive them doesn't mean that consequences don't still come. What he did was totally wrong and deserves a consequence. And that's one thing that you don't need to feel bad about. Whatever the outcome is, do not feel bad about it, because if you are going through this, this is not your fault. You could not control this, and that's that. You might think you could have controlled it, but you couldn't. It was not your fault. It was whatever was going through it was all of their fault. Because it's not your problem for what's going through their head. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and this was kind of hard for me, but I felt like I needed to do this because it's been 2 years since it happened, and I still have a rough time. So if you're going through something like this, just know it's going to be a very long time for you to heal because I'm still healing from it. But love you guys. Peace out.